So what's the seed that sparked Votum? How did Votum?
Well, it actually...
how did Votum come out at the Turner time?
Well, I actually went... I did a lot of volunteer work in the community, and I was invited by a minister to go talk to some young boys in juvenile detention facility. And so I went to talk to them, and because he wanted me to talk to them about getting into construction as a career option, because when they got out of detention or jail in some cases, they had a very difficult time finding a job.
Right.
And so sometimes the construction industry is a little bit more embracing for those types of individuals.
For second chances.
Yeah, because, of the labor intensiveness of the work, and if they got any skills, and my dad always told us, if you got a skill, you can feed yourself. So if they were skilled, and he wanted me to talk to them about, looking at trying to get skills in the construction industry.
Yeah.
And a large number of them were people look like me. And so he wanted them to see someone who he characterizes being relatively successful in the business to come out and talk to these guys. And so I did. And when I left from there, and while I was there and talking to them, I asked them, how did they, because some was there for a second time. They
gone to jail for a second
time.
Yeah.
And I say, how do you come back?
Juvenile detention.
Yeah. I was like, how do you get back in the system? And they say, well, when you leave and you can't find a job, you go back to a life of crime because you're trying to help support your family. So I left from there very disturbed about that. And, God placed it in my spirit to say, you can do something about that. And I was like, what can I do? And he said, hire them, own your own company. And I was troubled with that. I was like, hire, because because I had, and I shared this with you before, I had, tried to be in business a couple of times and was not very successful at it. I had started a fencing company and got out of it before I lost money. I started an import-export business and lost money, but it was a small amount where I was like, okay. And then I decided to get into the trucking business. I lost a huge amount of money. And so I was like...
this is what people need to hear.
Right.
They see that one business that you get the double or the triple on, but not all these false starts,
right.
face plants.
Well, and
but
plus...
you're thinking, okay, haven't I proven that that's not my path?
Well,
so that comes to you now and you're like,
right.
Okay, wait a minute.
Well, keep in mind too that me being in these other businesses, I did it while I had a job. And so to
like
lose,
parents,
them, I still could eat. But he was saying, walk away from my corporate job with a good corporate salary.
So you felt a leading.
Yeah.
It's time to start this.
Yeah. And so I was like, I'm like, am I hearing God? It's like, is this for real? And so I decided that I was going to go talk to my parents about it because, I'm going to the brook of wisdom.
Yeah,
I'm going to go see what they have to say about this because, I wasn't a young person either. I was getting older and I'm getting ready to step out into a world of starting a business where, people...
Well, we say direct deposit is the drug of the ages.
Right.
There's something nice about just that money.
Right,
in,
exactly, right.
The risk.
Or somebody else who's got the hustle and I'm just the employee responsible for just this portion of, right. And so I went to talk to my parents about it and I was like, I'm thinking about going into business, starting a construction company. And to my surprise, my parents were so supportive. They were like, we were hoping one of our kids would have their own business one day. And I'm like, why haven't you guys said anything? And so And my mother and my father, they said, let us know how we can help. And I left Vernice because I drove. My parents live in Pensacola, and of course, we're in Orlando. And I drove there myself this time because I wanted to have this time with them without my husband. And so as I was driving away, I was thinking, wow, it's almost like I've been blessed. I've got the blessing of the people that are so, that I care about the most in terms of what they thought of it. And they were like, go forth.